looking at the idea of what we've been going through all month of minding our P's and Q's. And it's not in a scolding way, as we might have been told as children, but in a way to lift us into a greater life experience. And that's why you're seeing a lot of P's in the talks for this month. And next week I'm going to finish this series up. So we talked about practicing prayer first week. And then last week we talked about pursuing play, which is like one of my favorite things to do. And I know a lot of you also love to play. So today we're talking about possessing a grateful presence. So it's the gratitude. It's gratitude. And next week we'll finishing it up with powering up with positive thinking. We all like positive thinking, so that's a really cool one too. I like all these talks. They're very uplifting, the P's. You know what I mean, Norman?
Yes, I do.
I was listening to a CD by Jamie Lula, who you probably heard of, and there was one phrase that really caught me and fit right in for today. It is, I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. Very, very powerful. And if you've been with us this month, we've been doing very many mindful practices. You might not have even known it because I just weaved it into the service. But so today I'm going to do a very short mindful exercise. Patty did one when she spoke. She did a brief meditation. So this is very brief. So I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes, and always we take that breath. And repeat silently within your own mind. I have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. Think about that. I have so much more to be grateful for than sorry for. And then begin whispering a little bit. So I'm whispering it out loud what you have to be grateful for. Whatever it is. Join in. Whisper a word. Whisper a phrase. Just go ahead. No one's listening.
Family.
Music.
Beautiful home. Family.
Friends.
Sky.
Great health.
Change.
Work. The world.
Food.
Joyful gathering. Spiritually.
Joyful gathering.
Mm-hmm. So make it a little louder. Just start to really get into that vibration of gratitude. What?
Good
Music.
gratitude.
Air.
Grandchildren. Yes, air.
Beauty of nature.
Expand your class.
Joy, sun. Intelligence.
Love. And finally then, say internally to yourself again, I now see, because we really do, I now see I have so much more to be grateful and sorry for. And come on back into the room and open your eyes. We don't always remember how much these little things that we take for granted. Remember that the universe does not distinguish between large and small. It distinguishes the vibration, so if there's gratitude involved, that's a very high vibration, and we're attracting more of that into our lives. Every Thanksgiving I read a passage from Ernest Holmes out of his textbook, short passage. He writes, in everything give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are now in heaven. Heaven and hell, right here in our own minds. We do believe in heaven and hell. And it's taking place right here and right now, what you're experiencing. So, what does salutary mean? Now, it means invigorating, healthy, good, helpful, advantageous. And we can put it into this definition that we can understand in our language: testify, verify, affirm, announce, indicate. So we're going to try the quote a couple of times with that variation. In everything, give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most advantageous and announces the realization that we are in heaven. Or, in everything, give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most invigorating and affirms the realization that we are now in heaven. And finally, try this one. In everything, give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most healthy and verifies that we are now in heaven. You can choose it, heaven or hell. Your choice. Did you know? You probably do know that science has proven that an attitude of gratitude is indeed a healthy attitude. In fact, a salutary effect, it has one on the body. It invigorates and heals the body. And I'm going to briefly talk about a little research that happened in 1993, which is now 20 years ago. Okay, so that so much more information has come through, but a research team led by Glenn Ryan and Roland McCready measured the effect of certain emotions on the human DNA. They used research subjects who were trained to manage their feelings. The researchers took DNA samples of the subjects when they were feeling gratitude, love, and appreciation, as well as when they were feeling anger, fear, frustration, or stress. When the subjects felt anger, fear, frustration, or stress, their DNA corresponded by tightening up. It actually got smaller. It became shorter and switched off. Many of the DNA codes we shut down. This is a physical thing. We shut down our DNA. But when the subjects felt love, joy, gratitude, and appreciation, the shutdown of the DNA codes was reversed, and those DNA strands relaxed, unwound, and in fact, they lengthened. This experiment was later followed up by testing HIV-positive patients, and they discovered that the feelings of love, gratitude, and appreciation increased their body's resistance to viruses, are you ready for this? By 300,000%. 300,000! That is the effect our emotions have on our physicality. And we hear the mind-body-spirit connection. It's a reality. It's a fact. It's a fact. So, what shall we be grateful for? Ernest Holmes says, in everything, give thanks. Give thanks for everything. The good, bad, the indifferent. Give thanks for it all. Typically, every year we do a different Thanksgiving kind of what we're going to give thanks for. So typically we give thanks for things we have from our relationships, our health, for our spiritual community, for our jobs, for the stuff that we have, and of course, that's wonderful. In the past, we have looked at being grateful in advance for the relationships, health, job, stuff, all those things that we are looking to experience, and that is too is wonderful. Also in past years, we have looked at being grateful for wonderful God qualities, the spiritual gifts, which we each possess, and that too is wonderful. And we might even look at the stuff in our lives that we might label yucky, because we all have a few, or other, might have other words for it, but yucky stuff, and we said we want to be grateful for that as well. And call forth a blessing in it. Because remember, in everything that takes place in our life, there is a blessing or a gift, if we but stay open and ask for it. God, show me the blessing in this one. Because some of them don't feel like blessings, but they're in there. But that too is good. And if you remember, you probably don't, but Emma Curtis Hopkins, who we love, and we had our wonderful workshop here, but her big affirmation, I love this, for any challenge, Emma Curtis Hopkins, this too is good. This too is God. This too is for me, and I demand to see a blessing in it. Isn't that great? Demand it. The universe will respond. Demand what you want. Say it in a demanding, commanding voice. But that's not where we're going to focus our gratitude today. So you might say, if I'm not going to be grateful for these things in my life, what am I going to be grateful for? If I'm not going to be grateful for future things in my life, if I'm not going to be grateful for the spiritual gifts, if I'm not going to be grateful for my shadow side, if I'm not going to be grateful for the challenges and learning opportunities in my life, well, there's nothing really left to be grateful for. Haven't it all? And I say, au contraire, my friend. Au contraire. We have something else, something new. We can never run out of things to be grateful for, really, right? Because it's a limitless universe. So I am grateful for the first, this is going to be our 10, telling you the end of it, but we have 10 core concepts in Science of Mind. So first we're going to be grateful for the oneness of life. I am grateful that there is a singular presence in this universe that runs it, the CEO, through and as all things. I am grateful for this presence called God, mind, Holy Spirit, intelligence, Allah, love, Yahweh, energy, whatever you want to give it. Whatever you want to call this very essence of who you are and who I am, who we are. It is as near as our breath and as close as our hands and feet. And this presence is good. It is only good, and it is good all the time. It only knows life-affirming creativity. It only knows life-affirming creativity, which is so cool. It knows only to further the expression of beauty, joy, peace, harmony, love, abundance, because that's the very nature of God. This is what we're created out of. That's what Science of Mind believes. And I find that very life-affirming for myself, and I'm sure you do too. It is so uplifting. Then we have to be grateful, for the divine creative process. Cassie was there. We did our 6, I got it down to 5-hour foundations workshop yesterday, and we really went into detail about the creative process, because it's so key to understand. You cannot do really effective affirmative prayer unless you understand the creative process. So I'm grateful for this one singular presence that operates infallibly through a process called the law to create form, right? Seed, soil, effect, plant. God thinks, and God's thoughts are operated on by the law to manifest form. Let there be light, and there was light. Simple as that. This process operates infallibly, remember that word, infallibly, in me as well as each and every one of you. I think, I feel, I believe, and that which I think, feel, and believe is also operated on by this infallible law. It gives back what is given into it. The law of attraction, cause and effect. This is actuality. Our life experiences mirror what we are thinking, what we are feeling, what we are saying. There's no way around it. I've tried. I've tried not to take responsibility. It doesn't work. Ultimately, it will always come back to us, to take responsibility, because we are creating. We are creating by our thinking. We are creating by our feelings and by our words and actions. And then we have affirmative prayer, which is what Patty did today. I am grateful that I can align myself with the beauty, peace, and harmony, joy, plenty, abundance of the universe, and have this infallible law work and create for me. Creates all those experiences. You see why the gratitude part is so important to be in. It's a high energetic frequency and pulls into our lives those conditions and experiences that reflect that gratitude, that high vibration. And then we have free will or choice. I'm grateful that we could always, always, always stand at choice. I don't care what anyone says. And I know people say, well, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. We are always at choice. Even in situations that don't feel like we have a choice, we can choose what we want to feel, what we want to experience. We can choose in our minds. We're always at choice. Because we're made in the image and likeness of the divine and imbued with all those qualities of God. The ability to choose at any moment. We can choose bondage or freedom. We can choose to love or to hate. That's our choice. We are always at choice. And the great thing is, once we make a choice and we don't like the experience, we can make a new choice. We're not stuck. And this is such an empowering spirituality. And then we have reciprocity. I'm grateful that the universe does respond to us according to that which we think, feel, and believe that we are in the world. How we show up, what the world is to us. If we don't like what the world is being to us, then we have the power within ourselves, the God-given, God-ordained power to change it. We can. We have that power. It's a reciprocal universe. Abundance. I'm grateful and eternally grateful that I live in a world of infinite abundance. Because that's the absolute truth. And all I have to do is to look around and see the leaves on the trees or the leaves, and right now there's an abundance of leaves on the ground. This is abundance. To the stars in the heavens, and of course the grains of sand at a beach. It's infinite. If you want to get a feel for what abundance truly is because you feel like you don't have it in your life, go to nature. Nature will always provide that spirituality that you might not feel. It will. I know a lot of people, it connects them to the spiritual nature just by being in nature. Forgiveness. No way of getting around that one. We think sometimes we can, but we must let go and let God. I'm thankful for this incredible tool of aligning myself with the flow of life. That I can at any moment use this tool of forgiveness. Remember, when we don't let go and we don't let God, we block the flow. The good cannot flow into our lives. It might trickle in here and there. It can't fully flow into our lives because we've got to let go of those feelings of anger and resentment or whatever it is that we need to do, the forgiveness, the letting go, the surrender part on. For ourselves, we do it for us. We do it for us so we can enjoy this beautiful journey that we're on. Then we have immortality. I am thankful that my essence, the truth of who I am, did not start with this body and does not end with this body. The truth is, the essence of each and every one of us goes on forever. We are just temporarily occupying these bodies so we can have this human experience. I am so grateful to know that I have an essence, and you have an essence that's eternal and becomes more and more and more. What the next experience is, I don't know. Which I didn't know, but I do know what I feel and what I believe, and I believe that it's good, and that we are, each one of us, immortal. And then I give thanks for the Christ consciousness. Grateful for the Jewish mystic who walked over 2,000 years ago on this planet, and the teachings that Jesus of Nazareth shared with us, because he truly was a master of new thought. If you read just the pure teachings of this man, the example, the way shower, you will see it was all uplifting and telling you that you can do these things too. He said that. You too can do as I do. Because that's how powerful we are. We just don't realize it. So as soon as we do deepen into that recognition of truth about us, we become the Christ, the anointed one, which is what the word means. We are each one of us anointed ones. We each have that wisdom within us. So those are the 10, I just went over the 10 core concepts of science of mind. which are they're in a lot of our classes. Our foundation class is a little different from the old one, and so they're not in there, but I'm going to print them up and hand them out, maybe next week, after I get back from my trip. So it's something for us, it's in the Science of Mind book, it's something for us to really appreciate these core concepts on which this spirituality is based. I mean, there's a strong foundation. And so I am eternally grateful for these beliefs and for a man named Ernest Holmes and the beautiful way that he wrote so many of these books. He studied every religion, and took the best that he could from each one and developed the science of mind, and we have that tool of affirmative prayer. I'm so grateful that he existed. I'm grateful for part of a teaching that advances, this teaching that we are deepening into. That's why the classes are key, but so is Sunday service, because we're deepening into the knowledge that there's a spiritual system in which we are living. There's a spiritual system. And that we are bold enough, all of us, to bring this traditional ancient values into today. Because this is new thought, ancient wisdom, right? I'm grateful to be living in this spiritual system that enabled me to develop a consciousness that attracted each and every one of you, that attracted the spiritual community, and we are a manifestation, all of us, a manifestation of a thought that became wonderful. Everybody said yes. So how can I not be grateful? I am so grateful that we can do this together. It's so much better to do it together than all by yourself. I'd rather do it with you. I'd rather do it with each and every one of you. Yeah, I don't want to do it alone. But we have the courage to live our lives in integrity, and that takes courage, my friends. That does take courage, that integrity part, because a lot of people do not live in integrity, but that's not our business. Our business is being grateful that we know what that quality means and that we can hold our heads high and live in integrity. And know that every single person is a unique expression of God. So remember, we have so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. We do. So let us possess a grateful presence for the spiritual system in which we live. That divine right order of the spiritual system is scientific, it's spiritual, it's religious, it's amazing, is what it is. And we get to partake of it through our choice, our free will. So let us be grateful for the evolution of humankind. Might not seem sometimes like we're evolving, but think about where you were a year ago in consciousness. What was going on in your life a year ago? Where your understanding and values and consciousness was a year ago. So much more this year. I can speak for me. I would hope for most of us even better. Because we're expanding, we're becoming more. Because what does God do? What does the divine mind do? It becomes more of itself. And so since we're created out of that nature, we are always becoming more. So it's time to be overwhelmingly grateful. Do you like that? I always say, forget to say turn off your phones, and it's always usually a certain person that has it on. But that's okay, we won't mention names, because she is a unique, divine expression of God, and that's how she is.
By the way, she's not affirming that, what you just said.
You are a loving being of the light.
That's right.
We love you. Let us know that an attitude of gratitude is really high vibrational energy, and that it not only allows us to feel good, but to attract more of that good into our lives. Let us give thanks, not one day out of the year, but every day. Let us give thanks every day, because that, my friends, is possessing a grateful presence. And so it is.
And so it is.
Happy Thanksgiving!